I think, we say law's future from finance is past, and the idea is that finance has been on a journey over many years. They've made some mistakes along the way, certainly, but they've also solved for a lot of problems involving risk and risk management. And I look at lawyers, and lawyers are often called upon to manage risk for clients, but we do it in a way that's sort of pre-modern, seen against the backdrop of finance. So we don't have explicit risk models. Things are being driven by the cult of single experts' perspectives on something. And again, you don't really see that in finance and insurance nearly at any sort of level anymore. That's a sort of something from a far bygone era. I think law to be more consistent with the ability to grade and manage risk needs to start embracing some of these basic tools and principles that we see in finance and insurance. Well, I think, some basic understanding of the tools and principles of finance would be very useful. Accounting as well. I would also add, when we want to do forecasts or predict something, typically that implicates statistics. So I would get a basic course understanding of statistics and then potentially layer on top of that, or like analytics would be like machine learning or something like this. I think that those really will help you solve better for these risk problems. Now, that's one version of the state of affairs. The other thing I'd just say more generally is it's not quite a finance thing, but project management and process improvement are places where we can streamline certain existing ways of doing work and do them better with fewer errors and greater efficiency. Well, I think the general issue is that lawyers need to solve the problem at Bayer, whatever the problem is. We have problems which are law, but they're also finance problems or accounting problems or legal problems, but they're also technology questions. And so in order to really do well, even on the core legal task, you actually need to know quite a bit about the substance of the matter in question. Well, you can do as you see fit. I mean, historically, we've had a sort of pathological sort of presentation of legal education as though it's the bastion of people who aren't good at math or are afraid of blood, right? So if you're okay with blood, you could become a doctor. And if you're not good at math, if you're good at math, maybe you're an engineer or something like that. But if you're in law, you're basically doing the humanities by other means, and you don't need to know anything about any of this quantitative stuff. I think that's a mistake. I mean, there's a lot of great opportunities, and I think most people who make it to the level of, say, being an attorney, being a lawyer, they can do it. You can do it. They just told themselves a story years ago that they weren't good at it because they had a bad experience somewhere in their education. But I just fundamentally don't believe that most people can't do it. I think they can if they sort of set their mind to it. Maybe some of them really can't, but most of them they're just told themselves this, and that's not actually the case. And if their livelihood depended on it, and my view is some of them it will, then they'll figure out how to get right with it. I think we do a good job in substantive legal training, so teaching people the substantive law of a given area. I think that's our strength. I think the problem is, though, that the problems of today are law intertwined with other disciplines. So sometimes we talk about this idea of a T-shaped lawyer, and this comes up from, it's an idea that IBM developed about what the ideal knowledge worker, what they look like. And this part of the T is the deep substantive knowledge of a particular area. And I think we do that very well. The top part of the T is adjacent skills that help you unlock or better use your core substantive knowledge. So things like design thinking, analytics, basic business skills, project management, process improvement, things like that. I think really help you allow you to unlock the substantive legal knowledge and solve problems for clients. Yeah, I actually think that the great lawyers are great project managers. So if you think about what does a partner actually do, they take a large task, they decompose it, they push the work out to the various pieces of various units of the organization, associate, a paralegal, so forth, so on. They manage all of that, and they roll it up and deliver a solution to the client. And so I actually think that there's been an inversion of things where people think the only thing that you do in that role is be a substantive expert. But if you really think about it, you're actually trying to manage, decompose the project, get it out, the right work out to the right people, oversee that work, make sure it's being done in a high quality and proper manner, and then roll it all back up to a solution to the client. So I actually think the great lawyers are implicitly great project managers, or at least are trying to display some of those elements. And so I would encourage any lawyer, even if they don't care one iota about any of these finance topics or technology topics, if you go into any law firm in the world or a corporate legal department, practically all of them could stand to just do some basic, to take the basic tools of process improvement like Lean or Six Sigma and apply them in project management and apply them to the work that they're doing. They would do more efficient work and be able to do higher quality work with just the basic application of those principles.
So if I take you by that, and if I say you're right, what you predict there, as a student,
you say I'm right, we'll just end the interview right now. I think this will be the high watermark of our conversation. I think.